Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 35 in our Oxygen Not Included Redux series. I know I said at the end of the last episode we're going to be working on rockets, and we are. They're going to spend the majority of today's episode working on our rocket upgrades for our Spacefarer modules, but I want to finish this little project here. This was taking way too long to do it, so I did a couple of things here. I removed this block. Originally, I was thinking that that would be able to be used because I thought it would seal it here and I could make it so there was no heat transfer. I was wrong. It doesn't need to be there. So, because there's a vacuum here, gases are working their way out. As soon as they get out here, they just disappear and dissipate. So it's speeding up our process. We still need to get all of this out of here, but you can see it's going down. It's working its way out. Everything is doing its thing, getting disappeared. Anything that builds up gets pumped out. Great. I opened this up so I can get down in here and repair this pump. I think that what I'm actually going to do, because when you repair a pump, let me pause this so I can go over this before they come in and do it. When you repair a pump or repair an item, what it does is it uses a little bit of steel and it fixes it. And it keeps all of its stats. So the temperature's still right where it is. If I deconstruct it instead of repairing it, that means it gets taken out. I got to rebuild it. But when I rebuild it, it keeps its base stat. So its temperature will be lower, which means we'll be able to, since this liquid is not hot enough to cause it to overheat, that will actually cause it to be good. It'll be able to pump. And then I can start pumping some of this excess petroleum out that is in here while we're working. It'll be a good thing. Because then we can get this sealed back up and this will be ready to go. And then this extra heat that is built up over time will get pumped out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that pump out of there. We're going to grab a liquid pump made out of steel. And as soon as it gets taken, we'll just build a new one. And we'll put that in at high priority too, because I want to get this sealed back up quickly, because I do not want, one thing I don't want is, since I'm doing this work, I'm kind of rushing it. I should have just waited. But I don't want it to pump out all of this liquid and allow this gas to get in here and cause us to have even a tiny bit of gas in here. This vacuum needs to be maintained. Should be okay. Even if it pumps, it's going to keep a bubble here. There's going to be a bubble here. And that'll hold the vacuum while I get the blocks put back in. But I just want to make sure. We can't actually fire this up until we get this vacuum, though, because what will happen is this will have runaway heat, because the gas will be in here. It'll allow the heat to transfer until the point where this stuff starts to boil beyond the petroleum level and turns back into sour gas. Right now it's staying stable. Actually, not sure why it's staying stable. This heat should be transferring through here into here, and it's not. So I don't quite understand that. Maybe because it's such a small amount of gas that it's actually functioning as a vacuum. It's a possibility. But once we get the vacuum set back up, we'll be able to turn this back on, because we'll be able to maintain the heat transfer when we need it. And we'll be able to boil the oil into petroleum. Okay, so he's building this pump. As soon as that's done, we want to come in with obsidian at high priority and replace the walls that we took out. But you know what I should do real quick is sweep this stuff up just to get it out of there. I don't want to have this obsidian sitting where I can't reach it. So we'll wait for that to happen, and then we'll put things back in. We are starting to pump this out. I think what I'm going to do is just temporarily cut this, because I don't want this pump running yet. Actually, no, it'll be fine, because it's pumping it right back into this same reservoir. So it's going to maintain that seal either way. It'll only be a few minutes before all this stuff gets picked up and taken out of here anyway. And then, like I said, we'll have to wait until we get the rest of this gas out, but it's going pretty quick. You can see the steam is down to 57 now. When we started this episode, we were at 200. So it's going to get out of here really quickly. And then the sour gas will continue to leak out in both of these sides and get pumped out, and we'll be done. Okay, so we got that last little bit. We want this to be obsidian. We're going to build it at high priority. We're going to do this one first. Kind of have to do these in order so that our duplicate can reach them. Because if we were to put this one here, he won't be able to reach over to here. So once we get this one placed, then we will put these two back in. Okay, we got this tile placed back in, which means this pump will keep pumping until it gets this room emptied out, which is great. We're putting in these last two tiles, and then this system will be back to working. We didn't lose our vacuums in these spots. These ones will be created as vacuums once we get all the gas out. So let's keep an eye on this. We're down to 47. This is still going to take a little bit of time, but once that's done, I can hit this switch, turn the pump back on, and start pumping oil back in. It has given us time to get our oil back up. Ooh, we got problems over here. Oh, because I made them out of lead. Well, that's a problem. Fortunately, our system here is designed to continue flowing even if these are broken. I think I built them and I knew I was going to have problems with them once the oil came back up, but I wasn't too worried about it at the time because I didn't have the steel to handle it. So we'll get these removed and then we'll get new ones put in. But we have been able to produce quite a bit of oil in the time that we were done, and we haven't had any issues with any water getting in. But this system, like I said, is designed so that if we do get to the point where water ever gets back down here, it will get in and it will get pumped out, and we'll never have water going here. This system is closed off from this one. There's no gas transfer. But even if we were to boil up some water and create steam in here, it's not going to get into this room when we're done. What happened the last time is that water got dropped off in here. It boiled, it created a bunch of gas from the steam, which caused us to have heat transfer here, which overheated the petroleum, causing it to turn into sour gas. So as long as the water isn't able to be pumped into here, the system will be fine. And you can see that this down here now is finished. It's all back to where it's supposed to be. So this pump can do its job, get all the extra petroleum out of here. Right now we have too much heat, so that when we send this oil in, we're going to end up with problems. So I'd like to get this all pumped out while we get the gas finished. And like I said, it's getting there. Slowly but surely, it is doing its thing. We will check back in with our petroleum boiler and make sure it's working before the end of the episode. I want to get started on our rocket bays. So the first one I want to do the upgrade on, and we're waiting for this other rocket to return just to make sure it's working the way we expect, but I'm going to start working on the upgrade, is this rocket here. So this is the Kalpana. Kalpana is the one that is designed for landing on new planetoids. I want to get a duplicate over to Mumial so we can start working on our gassy moo. So this is our old system, and then let's go look at this. This is our new system. So I think best thing to do would be mostly just to rip out all the buildings. I don't want to take the pipes out because the pipes are all good. Let's start right in this corner. We'll move it out, put in our other systems, and be good to go. So let's get rid of this. We'll deconstruct this. We can deconstruct this. So we'll start with just putting in the oxygen suit dock, and we'll do one system at a time until we have everything here working exactly where we want it. I am curious, as far as this wall goes, it's kind of almost the same, but it's slightly moved over. Yeah, we do have to actually remove all the buildings and get them put back in. The only one staying the same is this wall toilet is staying in the same spot. One system that this Kalpana rocket has that the rest of them do not is that I have water looping in this rocket. And eventually the plan is to do that with all of our rockets. But for now, what it does is water is coming in while this rocket is sitting, and it's getting pumped up at 51 degrees. It's coming back out at 51 degrees. The idea is, let's see, if we look inside here, we have these pipes down here are radiant liquid pipes. And what they're going to do is they're going to pick up temperature from inside the rocket while it's sitting here and add it into the water. And it's not doing much now because if we look at the temperatures at 51 degrees. If we go back out to our water tank, the liquid that's coming in to our rockets comes from this pipe here. It's getting pumped in down here. So right now, 51 degrees is about where this water's sitting at. But I have just connected this new radiator pipe. So we have supercoolant flowing through now. So that cold water that we have built up down here, that temperatures are going to get transferred all the way down here and start cooling off this whole tank. It's going to take a while to do that. But eventually what we're going to do is we're going to have water in this tank the whole way through that is at a nice point. Our goal is to get to 25, 26 degrees. So then water will get picked up here. It'll get pumped up into our rockets and go through our plumbing system. And while the rockets are sitting here, it will cool them down inside so that everything cools itself back off. So while the rocket's out in space, I can't do much about the heat because I don't have a way to transfer the heat. A little bit will get put into the water before it gets pumped into the toilet and then ejected into space, but it's not enough movement to really do much. But once the rocket is down on the surface, it'll cool itself back down. Hopefully. Theory. That's the theory. So we're going to continue on with our project here of doing construction on here to upgrade this to the new system, and then we will get this rocket in motion. Spaceship LV is coming in for a landing. What we want to see, if things work correctly, is that when he comes out, he's going to grab his suit and put it on. So once this lands, we should see Lincoln come out of this rocket wearing a suit. If it doesn't, then I'm going to quit playing this game forever because I don't understand it. There he goes. Lincoln put his suit on. Good job, bud. So proud of you. And everything in here is great. So now only one person is allowed in here at a time. He leaves wearing a suit. Everything is wonderful. So let's go to the Kalpana. We're slowly working on things here. These got locked because I didn't remove the automation wires first. So now we're switching them to open. Okay. But so we're slowly getting things in. Our gas pumps here, our docks are here, we're queuing up this side. Now we have to work on the other side. So what I've been doing is just switching over to this rocket so I can see it. Zoom in a little bit. Try to get it nice and even. Make it easier to understand. So the next thing we need to put in after the door is out is put in our battery here so we can connect everything up to power. I know that this power outfit here is actually up at the top. So let's switch that, put that in our power fitting. Well, I said power outfit. Power fitting. This power fitting goes here, which means that we can run our power lines we're going to use gold. I want the extra overheat temperature, but I don't need steel. And then we'll have a battery here. I think that I can get rid of all of these wires because I'm not going to need them. Cool. So they're slowly getting everything here set up. Let's switch back to here. This floor actually goes up so that there's only 2 spaces so we can make the dining hall. Let's work on that. I am actually going to switch out on that rocket as well, but I'm going to be doing airflow tiles here instead of I had regular tiles on the other one. And that's so that we can, let's leave this one and this one out for now until I get this deconstructed. Because so if we look at our main rocket, we don't have any floor there because we're going to be putting in our filtration system there. So back here, we want to deconstruct this, this, and this. Okay, so then next thing we can do is we can put in our battery. We want a smart battery. Again, we're going to make with gold because we're going to be regulating the temperature here a little better. I'm not worried about using steel. And then let's up the priority on all of this because this is what we're currently working on. I want everybody to focus on getting this done. The issue is we can only have one person in here at a time, so it's still going to take a bit of time because he's going to have to do the work that he has queued up, and then after he is done, then he'll go out and somebody else will bring in more resources. We'll get more work done, so it'll take time, but it'll slowly and surely get there. Let's check our power lines. So the power lines do come down here, they go here, and then we want to put power over to our door. We originally had the other things there, and that's why the power line went underneath. I'm just going to connect it like that. Okay, so good, we already have that. What we can do is remove this power fitting, and then that way we can put in our storage bin to put oxalate in there. Oh no, that's right, we have this disabled right now, so we can have all the people in the world in here. All good. That makes it a lot easier. So let's finish the floor here. We're going to go to the rocket. We'll get a rocket control station. It goes like that. We're going to put in 2 storage bins. Like so and like so. And then under furniture, we need a mess table. And then once all that's done, this room is finished. So these 2 rooms are already built out. This one's built out, and this one's built out. So what we need to do is finish working on these lines. I want to put this down here so that little blob of carbon dioxide comes down before I finish this up. So let's look at the lines on this one. So the filter is directly beneath this power, and then the top part of it is directly below the floor. Let's start with that as our building point. Oops. So our gas bridges, we want to put one here and one here. Cut off all of these other lines here. This one here, we can deconstruct. So let's just double check that, make sure we have them going the right way. We have flowing this way, flowing that way. Back to the Kalpana. So we need to create a loop. So this is going to come up. This is going to come down. Great. Let's let this finish, and then we'll come back to finish putting in the filter. often happens. While I was working on installing our system from the other rocket into this one, I noticed a small change that I wanted to make. In this rocket, this gas line that is coming in puts this pipe here. That means that because it's coming in from here, we end up tripping this gas pipe element sensor when we don't want to. To fix that, we're going to take this gas bridge, we're going to move it down, and we'll have this gas come in here, which means, actually no, maybe we can't do that. Maybe the reason we did that in the first place was because of the way things were working. Let me check and test that on the other system. Now that I think about it, I think that we decided that losing a little bit of oxygen was worth it, because if we did it the other way, let's check and see. I think it was causing us to have problems with the gas loop. So like the gas comes the other direction and it still causes the problem. Let's deconstruct this. I wish there was just a little bit more space here. You know what? Actually, I think I have another solution. Let's run this pipe a little bit higher, which means that we can disconnect it here and here. And then we can disconnect all of this. So this pipe we will run up to here. And then what we're going to do is we'll put this one up one higher. Put some gas pipes to connect it. And then we'll remove this one, which means that this one can actually go here once the other one is removed. So we can disconnect this here and we can deconstruct it here. So the problem that was happening is if I put it down here, when it comes out of this, it always flows towards the white one after the green one. So it was going both directions. So it's flowing backwards in the loop. We don't want the loop to do that. So we're gonna extend the loop up by one so that we can take this and have this loop come down and go here. So when it comes across this bridge, it'll hit here, it'll go to here, which means that it'll continue the loop, but that means that the gas will hit this sensor in the correct timing without coming through a bridge. And that means our loop should only ever let oxygen in here and anything else out. We got to get rid of this old one because it's causing problems. Okay, there we go. So now we have it. All the oxygen should go over here. Anything else, which we don't have anything else, should come this way. So we just shouldn't see anything coming and venting out. That's perfect. And let's deconstruct this. So that is an improvement over our old system. So let's go to our rocket over here. Let's install those upgrades. So to change it, what we need to do is run this pipe up higher. I think I'm actually going to run it just down like this. And then we'll disconnect this line. We'll disconnect this line. We'll disconnect both of the... No, that's right. We'll extend this line so it goes up. This one so it goes down. Uh-oh. Of course, autosave happens right in the middle of us trying to do an upgrade every freaking time. Autosaves when you get this far into the game are also pretty long. So you can see I gotta wait a couple of minutes. Usually about 60 seconds at the moment, actually. There we go. We can connect that. Disconnect these. and these, and then we can put a bridge across this way, which means we're going to disconnect this line and this line. Deconstruct this. I don't know why I built these as insulated, probably out of habit. So let's fix that while we're here doing this. And then the last thing we'll have to do is move this pipe up. So it's going to go right here instead. We can't build it yet, but we can deconstruct this one a while. And one other thing while we're waiting for all that to build, this rocket we have put in a vent port. We want to do that. We're going to do that on all of them, but we want to do that over here too. So we got to go to ventilation. We want an insulated pipe since this is outside, and we just want to go like this and then put in a gas vent. So that's going to allow us to do it while this rocket is docked. It will allow that carbon dioxide to go out because that's where we want it to do it. While it's in space, it vents like that just fine. But while it's down here, because there's nowhere for that pipe to connect to, it won't do its thing. So okay, let's just double check all this piping. So it's going to have a loop that goes like this. We need another gas bridge like this. This pipe can go, this pipe can go. All right, so once they finish all the building here for the new pipes, this loop will go and we'll be able to see if it's all working the way I expect it to. Looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the other one. So we'll let that go. Let's check in on the Kalpana. This system is working exactly how we want. One thing I do want to change is we don't need a ladder here for the moment. We got everything wired up. I'm going to pull this back out so I can put back in my steel storage because these two storage are used for this rocket to take supplies over to the other one. We need to put in food, which is our berry sludge. We need to put in medicine, which is our basic rad pills. Those are all down here, so they'll get picked up. And then this rocket should, once we get it cleaned up, be ready to go. So let's do a sweep. We'll do a priority 7. Sweep all the things. So once we have this cleaned out and finished filling up, we'll do some last minute checks to make sure that everything is perfect. So we want to put this in. We're going to set this one to steel. We're taking some steel and some glass over to Mumial to use, and now we can do that using our delivery system on this rocket. But we're just going to take some and leave it in here so that our pilot will have it when he lands and can grab it right out of here. We can also, when we're done, if there is space in these, fill it back up with some resources from Mumial to bring back home if we choose to do so. Okay, so now let's suppress the message on that one and on that one. He's stocking that. Cool. So everything is pretty stocked. We need more oxalate. We need some more rad pills. We need to get this built so that we can put our steel in there, and then we are good to go once we clean everything out. While we wait for the clean out to happen, we're back down here checking on our sour gas. Let's take a look here. You can see this part, it has gotten emptied out. We've reached the point where we're no longer pumping the gas out. It's just slowly collapsing in on itself, which, as we've seen in the past, usually when that happens, it starts to happen rather quickly because the edges, basically, the way this works, as far as I can understand it, is there's 0 here, there's 2 here, this will spread out and it'll make it 1 and 1. And then the 1 will try to split it into half and half. And then since they're less than 1, they disappear. And so it slowly works its way through. And then once it gets to, it's going a little slow because it's in a tight spot here. But once it works its way out so that it's in a bigger area, it collapses a lot faster. So we are very, very close to all of this sour gas just disappearing. And then we can turn on our oil pumps. We decided since none of this sour gas can get up to here, I'm going to turn this oil pump on. This will do its job as we go. Let's turn this on. So just to double check, oil is going to flow in here. It's going to counter, heat up, and it will turn into petroleum. It'll flow back out. So everything is good to go. This is the only thing preventing the oil from flowing. There we go. Let's watch this as it goes in. It's at 70 degrees. Picking up heat. So the idea here is that this, as this picks up heat and gets closer to its boiling point, it's pulling heat out of the petroleum so the petroleum cools down as it's coming out. That's the entire purpose of the counterflow. So we need the oil coming in order for the system to work, otherwise it will break. We have oil coming in. We also need to make sure that these, I messed around with these to make sure that door stayed open. So now we have to check to make sure we have a green signal. It's going to override the system. That signal will not override it, so that's fine. This is saying right now, if the temperature goes above 403, leave this door open so no heat comes in. So the colder oil will come in. It'll fall below 403. If either of these gets too cold, it will close the door, allowing heat to come through. So they are, in fact, turned on correctly. Let this oil continue to flow and see what happens to them. Oil is now at 241. We just don't want it to hit 400 in this pipe. And it should be calculated just perfectly that that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that having sat so long, it didn't pick up enough heat that it happens. So it's perfect. It's getting close. So it goes into a radiant pipe, stays at that 364 because I don't want to push it higher. And then it comes through, it drops out. We can see that this temperature starts to go down, but it's still high enough that it's flash boiling that oil straight into petroleum. Petroleum is now flowing back through, so that's causing more heat. Eventually, this will cool down to the point where we need more heat in this boiling room. So as soon as this hits below 403, either one of these, this one's at 419, this one's at 416, so this one's going to do it first. As soon as this hits below 403, we should see this door close. When that happens, the heat from here will go through and boil it. About to happen. .403. Door closes, heats back up, temperature goes back up. I guess we need this to send a red signal when both of them go. That's fine. That's how I want it. And so now we have oil flowing. Why did the oil stop flowing? Oh, that's right. We never fixed this. Oh, no. We got to do that very quickly. Liquid shutoffs. We're going to use steel for these. Should be okay, because this should not let any more heat come in while that's flowing. But we need those pumps in place in order to get the oil out. So let's make sure this is high priority. Yes, okay, good. Get those put in. It should mean that this system is working. Let's check this out. So yeah, this is still slowly working its way back. It'll dissipate. It's not enough pressure to ever get up high enough to cause any gas to get in here. So we're safe. It'll take care of itself in time. We've gotten our oil flowing again. This system's all working great. We are still waiting for the sour gas to disappear, but you can see it's slowly working its way back. So that's all wonderful.